something new that I'm just trying out. I'm just gonna chill today. So if you can't sleep, you're more than welcome to come in and just chill with me. I'll put you down for sure. But I want to welcome you. Doing something a little different, broadcasting live from HAPS headquarters, and I think I'm piping through to YouTube, Facebook. First time I'm doing Facebook, so that's going to be interesting. I normally don't post live on Facebook. Just checking to see if it's up. Oh, it is up. Imagine that. So we'll just see what happens there. I'm just going to put this to the side here so that I can monitor what's going on Facebook. But yeah, welcome. Wanted to do this series. I got hit with this not too long ago. Let me kill the music so you guys can hear me. Got hit with this inspiration to start doing these, and I was going to do a show on Thursday, and for whatever reason I didn't do it. Well, the reason I didn't do it is because Monday or Tuesday I got hit with this, and I said, you know what, I'll just do it on Saturday. I know I'm gonna be home. It's Saturday night, it's about 10:30, and that's what I'm doing. So I want to welcome you, and we're going to talk about everything on this show. I don't know how often I'm going to do this. That's why I got episode 1. I know it is going to be late night. Saturdays might work out best for me, but sometimes it might be Friday. I might even do a Thursday. It all depends on how I feel. But my goal is to at least do this show once a week, just late nights with Ace. It's going to be a late night type situation where if you're at home, you're chilling, you can't sleep, you need to get involved with something, you and I can keep each other's company. So, hey, what's up, Bruce? Late night vibes. I like that. What's going on, baby? Thanks for being here. And on this show, I'm going to be talking about universal things. And I feel like it's time that we talk about some things that are going to be happening, in my opinion, over the next 10 years. I think 2020 was the catalyst for the beginning of this new era. And I think humanity is so preoccupied with the normal day-to-day stuff, the politics, the government, money, all these different things. And we fail to understand that there's a whole lot more going on in the universe. And on this show, I'm going to be talking about that stuff. I'm going to be talking about aliens. I'm going to be talking about cosmic experiences. I did a video not too long ago on my experience with the moon. And there's just so many things we're missing. And I feel like this next 10 years, we got to start to have some of these conversations. These aren't conversations that people are having at the cookout or Thanksgiving dinner. It's normally politics, the rat race, jobs, that type of stuff. So I want to bring a different type of flair and talk about cosmic things and get people more comfortable talking about that stuff. I feel like it's important. So that's what it's going to be about. I'm going to try to have a few guests on here. I've already prepared a couple of them. I want to hear about experiences that people are having. It could be dreams. It could be a situation where you're visited by an entity, whether it's an angel, could be a spirit guide. It could be the fact that you are having, you might be meditating and you're hearing voices in your head. These things are going to become way more mainstream as we move forward. And I just feel it's time to talk about it. I know for a very long time, I only had a few people that I could talk to about this type of stuff. You tell somebody you're hearing voices in your head and they're looking at you all weird, like, what are you talking about? You tell somebody you saw something, and if it's not in the physical reality and it can't be backed up with logic, they want to commit you to, they want to get you committed. They want to put you in a special hospital. So I'm going to use this platform and this show, Late Night with Ace, to really talk about this stuff because I feel it's coming. I believe I want to be on the record between 2021 and 2031, in this 10-year period, I believe it's going to usher in some massive things that are just going to shake the foundation of a lot of our core beliefs. And a lot of people are in denial now, but it's going to happen. It's really going to happen. So my goal with this show is to get people comfortable talking about this stuff, and to also get people used to what's coming. They're already doing it with a lot of the movies. Okay, a lot of the movies that have been coming out, they're already doing it. The government is now starting to, guess what? They're starting to give out little by little, information on what UFOs, extraterrestrials. They're also showcasing different parts of the planet that they say that they know about. They're finding oceans. They're finding, there was a book written about the hollow earth. There's just so much going on. And as long as we're tied into the day-to-day, normal stuff, we're in for a massive shock if we really don't start to embrace some of this stuff. And so that's the type of stuff we're going to talk about. I think about, what is life going to be like when entities from a different planet are walking amongst us? What is life going to be like? What is life going to be like when you wake up one day and on all the news channels, they're speaking with these entities? What's going to happen to the humanity then? Those are the type of things I think about, because it's coming. It's happening fast. What's going to happen when you wake up and you decide, I'm going to go to the park and exercise, and there's a reptilian family having a picnic? What's life going to be like? But these are the days that I really feel are coming. And how much of our day-to-day life will change because of that? Because I want to tell you something. If you're really paying attention, you'll start to notice that things are already shifting with us. They're shifting with us individually, and by the individual shift taking place, the collective shift is taking place. Okay, look what 2020 did. It may have put you in a whole different state of mind based on what took place in 2020. Look at the job market. A lot of businesses are closing down because people no longer want to work. They're working from home, or they're following their passion. Okay, people are finding their truths. I know for me in 2020, just about every aspect of my life shifted. Every aspect. And then coming into 2021, I had another major shift that took place at the beginning of the year. And I feel like everything that I had going on pre-2020, I'm on a whole different timeline. It's like I jumped from one timeline to another. And you may be feeling the same way. You may be feeling like, wow, this individual is different now, or this group of people are different. I'd be interested to hear about that. But fam, there's some different things happening out here, and it's happening to us individually. There's an energy shift taking place, and the individual changes that are happening, well, each individual change, mine and yours, it adds up to the collective change going on in the planet. And all of this is moving us towards this new way of life that we're about to embrace. So I feel like this is one of the best times to be alive on this planet. Like, can you imagine over the next 10 years what's going to take place? I mean, can you imagine? You can say that you lived through the time where you noticed the planet changed. I see it in a lot of the kids. A lot of these kids that are being born now that everybody thinks are like they got problems and issues. No, it's like these kids are wired for what's to come. They engage with technology a lot better than my generation. Their mental capacity to hold different concepts totally different than mine. It's like the human species is evolving as the next generations come, and we don't even notice it. We look at it as a problem or issue. Johnny's not listening. No, Johnny's here wired to do what Johnny's supposed to do. That's what Johnny's doing. So there are a lot of things taking place and shifting on our planet. And a lot of people, Bruce, you're right. A lot of society is brainwashed, totally checked out, totally latching on to all of the agenda that's being put on us, not realizing that the individual shifts are taking place in us collectively. So let's start talking about it. Let's start giving each other a voice to really speak what's going on with ourselves, spiritually and inwardly, because I feel that's important. I really do. And we cannot ignore the fact that there's something else going on in the universe. I mean, look at what's going on the planet. I was watching a TikTok video and someone caught on camera, like, how the whales are, jumping in and out of the water. Well, it appeared to be that there was a mermaid rolling right with them, right with them. So there's not only so much stuff going on in space, there's talk about a hollow earth, but what about our oceans? There's more water mass on this planet than land mass, I believe. What's taking place there? And so if we have a narrow mindset only on a few issues, only on a few concepts, only on a few things that we deal with, you got your family, you go to work, you go to your place of worship. If you're operating in this small, limited circle, you're in for a massive reality wake up, massive. And I really believe it's going to shock the foundations of a lot of people's lives. I really, really do, But again, I feel like they've been prepping us. They've been prepping us for decades that this stuff is going to come. They try to keep it secret. They try to keep it hidden. But fam, I'm telling you, this stuff is here to come. So late nights with Ace, we're going to be talking about this. We're going to be talking about, and some of you guys might call it conspiracy theories. Some of you guys may call it hogwash. That's fine. You can call it whatever you want. It's real to me. I've had too many direct experiences where I've been touched by an energy source, where I've been touched by some type of entity while I have been affected by something that you wouldn't call logically, you couldn't logically explain it. I've been touched and I've been affected that way. So I'm going to be speaking my truth, but I also want to give a platform for you to also share some of the things you're going through, because I know I'm not the only one. I talked to a good friend of mine in Detroit. We've been talking about this stuff for the last 15, 20 years. And her and I crack up about it because it's like, if we told anybody else, it'd be crazy, So, when I call her up and we're talking and she's talking about her feet glowing and this, that, and the other, fam, there are some massive things happening. And we need to start having a conversation about it. We really do. We need to start expanding our understanding on some of the things that are taking place, because I'm telling you, this is probably one of the most exciting times to live right now that's ever happened in the history of the planet. because there's a massive shift that's taking place. I hope that I'm blessed. You know, I always have this theory that I'm going to check out of here and transition at age 88. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward, and I'm looking forward to just laughing and being a part of all of this stuff that's about to come, because it's going to happen. It really, really is going to happen. So, you know, what's your thoughts on that? You know, drop them in the comments. Bruce, thanks. 71% of the Earth's surface is water. Okay, so there you have it. I mean, we haven't even been able to explore what's going on under the earth. And these spaceships, this, you think they're just able to navigate air? No, they can go under and navigate that as well. So there's a lot going on. And again, we're going to be talking about this. I also want to spend some time and talk about our roots. You know, I think in 2020, when we were shut down, it gave me an opportunity to really start to study some of these entities that are out there. And I was going to go get some pictures and put them up, but I decided not to do that. I just said, you know what, hey, I'm just going to come out with it and be raw tonight. I'm shooting. I don't have any notes. I don't have anything planned. I'm just coming at you guys raw. But as time goes on, I will be having specific shows based on specific entities. One of my favorite is the Anunnaki, you know, and the Anunnaki's connection to planet Earth. You know, I have a whole theory on that, you know. Some believe that the Anunnaki started the human race. And I can see all the religious people coming at me. That's not correct, sir. Keep in mind, people, this is my show, and I'm going to tell you my truth. And it's not that my truth is the only truth, but it's mine. And you're more than welcome to have yours. And you're more than welcome to disagree with me. I don't have a problem with that. But I do believe that there is, I do believe that there is a connection to the Anunnaki and planet Earth and how it started. When you look at the Sumerians and you look at the ancient texts of the Sumerians and how they connected the beginning or the origins of man, there's some ties to the Anunnaki. There's some things in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, that, you know, speak to these entities. And I'm not going to take the show and turn it into that, but there are a lot of unexplained things that we're going to open up. And the Anunnaki is going to be one of them. In fact, the Anunnaki may be a 3-4 episode. I might not run them all, you know, back to back, but we're going to have to spend some time and talk just about the Anunnaki, because I believe that they have a direct connection to the starting of this planet. So you have the Anunnaki, you have the Greys. Okay, those are like the small aliens that we see. I think they're about 3-4 feet. You know, there's a whole history on the Greys. You have the Palladians, the Octorians. Guys, the list goes on and on. It's kind of like, you know, when I was younger, I was just led to believe that human beings was all that existed. And it wasn't until in my adult life I started to open my mind to the fact that there may be some other stuff going on. You know, when you look at planet Earth as a whole, this planet is humongous, humongous. But when you look at planet Earth compared to the universe, we're like a speck of sand. So you have all these different entities. They all have their history. You know, I'm going to do a show probably on Atlantis, Lemuria. Okay, there's a whole history of that, because these two cities or civilizations, whatever you want to frame them, They had technology that was like way ahead of its time. There's a lot of history going on here. And unfortunately, they don't teach this type of history in the schools. Our kids don't our kids don't get to watch this history. They don't get to learn about it at a young age. Their mind does not get to expand. You know, a lot of our schools are what? Math, English, some form of science. You know, I have this thing with science. There's the all capital letter science and then the lowercase science. You know, what science are your kids learning? Um, our kids aren't taught that. But luckily for humanity, these kids coming up now, these babies being born now, they're wired for the next evolution. They're wired for this fifth dimension consciousness and energy that I believe is about to just really, really be mainstream on our planet. A lot of things going on. So you have the entities that are part of the universe. Then you have the angelic realm. And that's a whole nother situation when you talk about the angelic realm, because I'm trying to get the correlation between the angelic realm and entities, you know, like the Anunnaki, this, that, and the other. I haven't quite put that together, but you have the angelic realm, which I really believe in, all of the angels, you know, Metatron, and there's a whole host of them and the part that they play. And this whole thing called God or source or whatever you want to call it, you know, how does that work? Again, we're going to be talking about things that, you know, people don't talk about at Thanksgiving. So, a lot of cool things that are happening on the planet. And again, we get a front row seat. I really believe that when it comes to planet Earth, our planet is like the most watched planet in the universe right now. It's like if you're living on planet Earth right now, you're like the Navy SEALs of the universe, because I believe in reincarnation. So entities just don't sign up to come to Earth and experience what's going on here. It does it no. It's like, now I don't want to, you know, send me to Andromeda, send me somewhere else. I don't want to come to planet Earth. So if you're on planet Earth and you're living, especially in this time, you're a badass, and you got to recognize that. You got to know that. And that's how I really feel. I feel like we're the most watched planet in the universe right now, because this is where you come to really master your craft of manifestation and authenticity. And, you know, if you want to use the words law of attraction, this is where you come to continue to evolve. And I believe that the universe is set up where our souls are eternal and immortal. And when we transition, we come back and do it again. And again, some people won't agree with that. Some people agree with something else, and that's totally fine. But I believe that my soul is eternal. My soul is immortal. Now, this body of mine, yes, this is going to go back to dust and do what it needs to do. It's going to go back to the ground, but the soul is eternal. And so as we transition, you know, we decide what our next journey is going to be. So we're going to be talking about some interesting things. And I want to check something. I know I'm live on YouTube. I want to see. I don't expect much because, you know, I just started this series as far as, um, okay, I got a few people watching there, but I don't see any comments or anything. But I don't expect much right now. We're just getting started. I don't have 100,000 followers or anything like that. But I do expect this to continue to grow. I expect the audience to continue to build, and as we start to really talk about some of the things, and if you get some value out of it, please like it, share the video, and invite other people in, because that's what my platform is largely going to be. Tonight you got Ace. Next week, when I talk about affirmations, you'll have Sensei Ace, where I talk about affirmations, meditations, spiritual concepts to help your experience get better. But when I do these late nights with Ace, I'm going to come to you guys on a whole different level, like a whole different frequency of energy, where everything can be talked about. Everything dealing with the cosmos, even if you find that you disagree with some of the things that I talk about, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I welcome that. I welcome different points of views on things, because that's what makes us all unique. People get into this thing where they feel that they know everything. People like that, like they know everything. And the way I look at information is this. First of all the information that's out there on a particular subject already exists. So you may have tapped into the information first, but it doesn't mean that what you've tapped into is the only and all of the information based on that topic. So when people are closed mind to other points of views, it just allows me to see right through them, that they're living in a very limited type mindset. I'll listen to anything. Now, I might walk away and not feel or agree, but that's okay. And that's not to say that your truth is not your truth, but you also have to let me to have mine. And I think that's one of the things going on with humanity. Humanity fights to be right all the time, and humanity fights to be right. And if you don't agree with me, I'm going to have a problem with you. Our species, we're very primitive. Yeah, and that's me included. We're very primitive. We consider ourselves advanced. Well, why are we advanced? We advanced because of our technology. What makes our species advance? Here we are in 2021, and we're still talking about color. Like, the color of someone's skin is a topic. If that's not primitive, I don't know what is. Yeah, we're a primitive species. Because anytime the media leads with that, all antennas go up. Primitive. And that's not to say that we're bad or anything like that, but it speaks to where we are as a species. Very primitive. We do some very barbaric things. We're brought up with this notion that might is right. So if you kick my ass, somehow you're better than me. It's a thought process. Yeah. And we have these measurements that we use with one another as a way to demonstrate better than over another person, more advanced. You could look at it a number of ways: in our money, in our sexuality. Um, you know, as soon as an argument breaks out, we go into hands. Because again, whoever beat somebody up, in some way, we've been taught that the person that beat the other person up is better. Primitive. We're making advances, but we're still primitive in how we approach a lot of things. And I'm not excusing me from that definition of primitive. I'm in that too. I'm part of the collective. So I don't want anybody to think that, oh, he acting like he's no. I'm not saying that at all. I have a lot of things that I have to improve on. And I recognize some of the primitiveness in my own self day to day because I've been caught up in might is right for a very long time. Not so much anymore. So we tolerate a lot of things. You know, it's all about winning. And trust me, I like winning more than anybody else. But when it really comes down to the core fundamentals of what can help a species advance and what can help humanity move forward, a lot of those concepts fall to the wayside. Look at how we treat one another. Very primitive. You know, why is it that we have starving people on the planet? We got a long way to go. And some of these entities may be looking at us and saying, I don't, let's not fool with these people. Let's not fool with them at all. They are primitive. They're killing each other over stupid stuff. Yeah. They're killing each other over stupid things. Do we really want to go to planet Earth? That's where we're at. So, my goal again on this show is to help bring about more unity in a way where we can respect one another even if we are on different sides of a subject or we have two different truths. I believe that two truths can exist at the same time because what may work for me may not work for you and vice versa. We've got more in common than anything else. But we don't focus on that because the larger agenda is for you not to like me. And if God forbid my skin color is different than yours, whoo, we really got something there. If my skin color is different from yours, oh, we got a clash. Now we got an issue. Now we got an issue. And they've been using that issue, that one issue, to keep us separated from each other. And there's so many variations of it. You have skin color, you have gender, you have politics, you have your religion, you have your class, rich and poor. If you ain't got no money, you ain't nothing. That's what's being taught. And those are the messages that are coming out. And even in our sexuality is now a weapon. And what I mean by that is, and I'm going to do, there's a show coming up. I don't know if I'll do it on this show, but there's a training that I'm working on just talking about sexuality and how sexuality has been used as a weapon. And you may be like, what? How is sexuality being used as a weapon? Well, if people are not happy with the bodies that they have, then they feel less of. They feel less than. So you always, Trav, what's going on, baby? That's my main man. So you always have we have to pay attention to these vices that are being used in a very surgical and strategic way to have us against each other. And when you grow up in society, and when you grow up in a certain culture and you're taught one way and you take on that energy, it's very easy for you to transition into that into your adulthood and to keep that going. And then we do what? We just transfer that to the next generation. I was in a sales meeting with my sales guys the other day, and we were talking about just that. I was trying to explain to them that 80% of what the media puts out there, they do it in loops. So you hear it over and over and over and over again. And because you're watching it on a flat screen with someone behind this desk that looks good and looks official, and the colors are coming through clear, and then they have all these supporting arguments to back up what they're trying to convey to the public. It's very easy for us to allow that to go into our stomachs and digest within us. And then we take on that energy. And then guess what? We lash out at each other. We lash out at each other. I happen to believe that the majority of humanity is good. I happen to believe it. Have I had some things done to me? Yes, I have. I'm not above any of that. I've had police brutality. Um, hey, thanks for that. I've had police brutality come at me. I've went through discrimination. Um, I remember when I was 7 years old in Ashland, Ohio, I had about 9 white kids jump me. I didn't know it was because I was black that they jumped me. And um, I'm at a Christian school. Didn't even understand it till years later. But I don't look at everybody being that way. And it's the other thing I would say to my white brothers and sisters. Everybody that looks at me like me isn't bad either. So we have to pay attention to all of the strategic operations, these psych ops that they have put on us, put on humanity. And we have to understand it for what it is. And the only way that we can get around that is by individually working on ourselves to get better and then being that example. And that's literally what I've done with my life. I decided to stop being this person that everybody feared and be this likable person. I've had to make a lot of adjustments in my life. But again, every day that I wake up, I view humanity as a whole as more good going on than bad. We just don't see the good because that's not what they show us. Good doesn't sell, bad sells. So the more that they can keep this agenda of separation going, they continue to control the masses. It's very easy. All you have to do is pay attention. So, Late Nights with Ace, we're going to be talking about that. I want to help bring the world together. I want to help unify us. And that's not to say that I'm going to turn the other cheek if you come at me cross. crossways. I'm not saying that. You have to set boundaries. However, again, and this is very important, when I wake up every day, I wake up to my world and my reality where I feel that the majority of the planet are good people, that we want the same thing. It takes a lot of energy to hate and be angry. If you've ever noticed an argument ensue, or you can only hold anger at a high level for so long. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. Yes, you can run it up, but it's very hard to maintain it. That energy will come and turn into something else. It can turn into bitterness. It can turn into jealousy. There's a whole lot of emotions in that, but those emotions, they're very, very difficult. It's much easier to love. It's much easier to be at peace. And that's what I'm really, really working towards, is just being that individual that just wakes up every day, lives my life, allow everybody to be them while I just stay being me. But we got to start to bring this divide together. We got to start understanding that I might be different from you and vice versa, but we cannot allow that to keep us isolated from one another. We're all one. I believe that we're all part of this one universe. I believe that we're all part of this thing called source, and we're just fractionals of the oneness. So essentially, you are me and I'm you. And when I see you, I see a shadow representation of me, and vice versa. And if we can start connecting in that way, people, we can change the entire scope of everything. But it's got to start with us. It's got to start with us understanding that we're all uniquely different, and we have to find more commonalities, because they have found the vices to keep us separated. You got to notice it's mastered. I just went over a few of them: religion, race, politics, gender, sexuality. And I can go a step further with the sexuality thing, because let's talk about gay people. Another way to separate us. Transgenders. Give you an interesting story. I was watching on Haps a couple of nights ago. I was watching this program where these two individuals that were transgender were talking with each other. And I'm gonna be honest with you, fam, I have struggled with that. I would say 20 years ago, there would be genuine hatred. And I shouldn't call it genuine, because I don't think hate can be genuine. It could be delivered that way, but I don't think the origination comes from that place. I think it comes from, I feel that what I was spewing out came from a place of fear. And I just got that download. So that's going to happen from time to time. These guys may, or gals, or these entities may correct me. So about 20 years ago, I had a massive problem with that. Today, not so much. In fact, today, like I was saying a couple nights ago, I put myself in a situation where I watched this entire interview with these two transgender individuals. I don't know. Okay, the host could have been a man and turned to a female, because it was a female that I was watching, and the individual that she was interviewing was a young black male that had transitioned to a female. And I allowed myself, hey, Denmark, I hope I pronounced your name right. All right, welcome. Um, I allowed myself to digest that video. And I want to tell you something. My entire perspective on people that are transgender, it just changed just watching that interview because I allowed myself to be able to view without judgment. In fact, I put my judgment on the shelf. And after that interview, I'm like, wow. Because here I was for decades having an issue with individuals that decided to do something different. But after that show, I'm just like, Ace, do you know what it would take? Do you know what it'd take for Ace in my male body to go over here and say, I'm going to be Anne? Like the complete do over? Uh, when you really think about that and think about what an individual has to go through in order to make that transformation, you got to put something else on that. It can't be hate. It's got to be understanding. And I said, you know what? I actually reached out to, and I'm just going to call her a young lady because that's what she's classifying herself to. I reached out to her and I said, look, I'd love to have you on a show, but before I do that, I want to interview you and get to know you because I feel that we got to do that more. Because what was interesting when I was watching the show is that the majority of the audience watching were transgender people or people in that space. I was probably one of the only people on there that was, like a male, like no changes or nothing like that. I mean, I guess I'm a lesbian because I like women, but you know what I mean. I think I was, and I'm like, no, there needs to be more of that interview needs to be over like in here, and in other places, and not to attack, not for ratings, not for, not for, popularity, but to bring about understanding because here I am in 2021 and I know nothing of the transgender world other than I didn't like it. I judged it. And here I was judging something that I truly didn't understand. So just that interview changed my entire perspective. And that's what I'm talking about, fam, as far as us expanding and having a bigger palette for a lot of things that are happening that we don't understand. Instead of us tuning in to these multi-channel platforms that have 80% of the agenda already laid out for humanity that are all working in cahoots with one another, we've got to figure out a way to create our own system of communicating where we can start to understand each other. And that goes on any topic. If you're struggling with your religion being the only religion and you can't tolerate, well, get to know some of the other religions. And what you'll probably find is that those people are just like you. They just happen to believe different. And I remember young in my spirituality journey, I was so bent on getting everybody to be spiritual. Like, what do you mean you're a Buddhist? No, come on over to spirituality. What do you mean you're going to church? No, come on over to spirituality. And I remember in a meditation, they told me, they said, Ace, Stop. Your job is to be an example and be a light to the world. You don't have to prove anything. And that's when I stopped. They said, stop trying to convert people. They said, if you live by your own example, individuals will automatically be drawn to you. And that's literally what's happened. You know, I speak my truth, I operate in my truth, I roll in my example, and then people just latch on to me. That's literally how I've been. So I no longer try to control people and tell them what to do. So when we see something that we immediately make a judgment on, after the judgment, because the judgment's going to happen, we're humans, it may be the best plot of action to try to understand. And getting understanding doesn't mean that you're going to agree. Even though I have a better understanding of transgender people, no, I'm not going to be out there talking about transgender, and all that. No, I'm not going to do that at all. But the next time I see one, I can say, Source bless you, happiness, health, and peace to you, and be okay with that. Because now I can see that transgender person as myself. And that's the entire goal. I don't have enough information to speak on what an individual goes through when they make that move to transgender, from male to female or female to male, whatever. I don't have enough information to speak on it. I know innately that's not who I am. So I'm not going to allow it to create a judgment that adds to the collective consciousness. Do you see what I'm saying? So by me watching that video, now I have evolved my position on people that are transgender, and I'm one less person that's judging it. Do you see how that works? And again, that came from them. And that's what this thing is about. The more that we can operate in our own light, the more that we can operate in our own truth, we start to change the energy on the planet. We start to take things in a different direction. But if I'm holding on to this energy that I don't like this group of people, then I'm adding to the problem. See, the state of the planet is collectively on all of us. It is, because we have not evolved through the process where we can allow people to be them and be okay with it. So going back to my major point, they have figured out all of the vices to put on us to keep it isolated. What we have to do in turn now is to figure out the vices that we can use with one another to bring us back together. Does that make sense, fam? And that's what this show is going to be about. And us sharing our experiences, talking about different topics, that's going to help us do that. Because the show is just heating up. Planet Earth is now just getting warmed up. Like, there's going to be some stuff that take place. You're going to be like, oh, wow. Oh, wow. I really don't believe that anything is impossible. And I believe that we're entering an age where manifestations are going to start speeding up. And because of that, a lot of things are shifting. We're seeing an evolution in our technology. We're seeing an evolution in our monetary system. We're seeing an evolution in human beings. We're seeing an evolution of love. I started meditating in 1999. I don't think too many people were talking about meditation, but more and more people every day are now meditating. What that does is it adds to the what? It adds to the collective and the direction of where humanity goes. Because I really believe that the course, the destiny that our planet is going to be on is going to be largely dependent on what the collective consciousness holds. And that's why it's so important what you do and what I do on an individual basis is so powerful. You want to be the example. And a lot of the collective programming that we've had in the past, we have to transform it. We have to turn it into something else. This whole might is right. Got to transform it. And it's going to take some time, but it's going to take platforms like this. And there are a lot of other platforms that have been doing this. I'm thankful for them because I think they've opened the doors to, things like this happening, my show being possible. Technology is added to this, but we need more individuals that want to bring light to the world, bring unity. Thank you. Adventures would be, yes, humanity must keep evolving. And I think we will. I think that we're on this trajectory to keep evolving and keep moving because and again, this is my belief. I think it's designed that way. However, I believe that there are some entities on this planet because of what they want to control with their agenda, want the exact opposite. However, I do feel that humanity is taking more of their power back. We're starting to see it happen in 2020. And again, I believe that the next 10 years, I want to stamp that because when it happens, I want everybody to remember, A said it here, that over the next 10 years, we are going to see some things happen that we've never witnessed in our lives. Never witnessed. And we have to be ready for that. We really do. And you have to understand that, what's interesting? When entities start landing here, whether it's the Anunnaki, reptilians, the Greys, when we start get visiting by all these different entities, that's when I believe racism is going to disappear. It's just a theory of mine because now we'll look at each other as one. Because it's like, yeah, we're not them, we're all together, and it's weird, but that's when that energy will, and when I say disappear, I don't mean completely. There's always going to be an element of it, but that will no longer be one of the major talking topics because humanity will be forced, and forced is the wrong word. Humanity will find it easier to tolerate someone that doesn't look like them because we got that person over there or that thing, that's probably what we're going to call them. That thing over there is different from us for sure. They got 4 fingers, we got 5. So we're better than them, right? That's going to be the thought process. So this thing has to keep evolving. It's going to be interesting. You're going to go into the movies and you're going to be sitting a few spaces away from the Greys watching the movie. That's going to be interesting. And I don't know if they're going to go to movies, but you know what I mean? Like when you really start to really think of some of the possibilities. Some of these moments are going to be awkward. For a very long time, I've had this goal that I wanted to meet a female alien. Yes, female. Yes, she's got to be female. Don't ask me why. It's just one of these goals that I've had for a very, very long time. Like for, I would say probably the last 25 years. Like I've always believed in aliens. I didn't have an understanding of them like I do now, but I've always wanted to meet one. And I feel like that time's coming. I really do. I feel like they have a lot to teach us. And I think once we really start putting some of the history together, we're going to be like, wow, you know, this is going to be very interesting. I believe in wormholes. I believe in time travel. I mean, there's so much we're going to be talking about here. I mean, there's evidence of people going back in time and moving in the future and everything in between. There's like a whole lot going on here. And so we have to be able to embrace all that. But my goodness, we have to get through the little issues that we're dealing with now. Why can't you be a Buddhist and I be Hindu and we be cool? Why does it have to be a fight? Why can't you be Muslim and I be Christian and we be okay? Even atheists, I don't have a problem with atheists. You know, I keep telling my sons that if they grew up in, let's just say, China, their mindset would be different. We are so much a product of our environment and we don't recognize it. And that's why we struggle with finding the authenticity in us, because all we are is a collective program of our parents, grandparents, in-laws, teachers, religious people, schools, I mean, friends. First, 15 years of your life? All this stuff comes at you and you're taught. You're taught how to handle a relationship based on the relationships you've seen, because that's all you can draw from. You're taught your religion based on a religion that was put on you. You're taught your politics based on how your parents did your politics. And very few of us break out of some, very few break it out of all of us. I question everything now. Everything, because I feel like the last 10 to 15 years, I've been working more on deprogramming what I've learned and putting new programs in me, new beliefs in me. My beliefs keep changing. And that's the issue with what's going on in humanity. It's hard to figure out who the hell we are because of all this stuff that's going on. A lot of the kids in the inner city, or just a lot of kids, period, want to be rappers and sports people and entertainers. That's what's put on them. We're a product of our environment, and we've got to get to the point where we start to talk about larger concepts, larger possibilities. We have to get away from this I, and recognize that you and I are the same. We're all one. And oneness doesn't mean sameness. I learned that in Conversations with God, Neil Donald Walsh. I mean, those books liberated me. If you're looking for some good reading material, Conversations with God will completely change everything. We are all one, but oneness does not mean sameness, because we're uniquely wired in a certain way. I love to talk. You may love to work on cars. I don't like mechanics. And you may not love to talk, but I should still be able to sit down with you and we find that commonality and have love for each other. That's what I'm talking about. Because if I look at you and I don't like you and I don't know you, then there's something that I'm seeing in myself through you. And those are the concepts that we got to get. And vice versa. If I look at you and I'm like, wow, this individual makes me feel good, well, then there's an aspect of you that I see in myself that I like. Those are the things that we need to focus on. Those are things that we need to be talking about. We have to figure out a way to create more debate when there are issues and their differences versus tearing individuals down. Because what I find is that when people cannot debate the issue or the policy or the situation, they start attacking one another. And you know what comes after the attack, right? Then that's when the hate comes about, and it just goes in an area that leads to nowhere productive. So we have to work on better communicating with one another, especially with issues where we're on opposite side. No one should feel afraid to speak their truth. And in 2020, I saw a lot of that. I saw a lot of individuals that said, you know what? Why speak my truth? All I'm going to do is get attacked. Might is right. Because we live in a world where some people feel if you don't agree with their viewpoint, they'll just hammer you down. What does that do? Nothing. I want to hear about your opposing. If I'm on one side of the argument and you're on the other, I want to hear about it. Again, I may not agree. And then on the other side, you may convert me. But regardless of what the result may be, the fair exchange should always be there. That allows us to grow. But we've been taught, and I don't know where this stemmed from, but we've been taught that if you don't agree with me, something's wrong with me. I don't know where that came from. Because I found myself in the past doing that. Like, if you didn't agree with me, then what the hell, like, what's this about? You know, and then you start overcompensating, and then it starts turning ugly. We got a lot to learn, people. Got a lot to learn, fam. We got a lot to learn. And as we start to see some of these things take place on planet Earth, it would be in our best interest to have an open mind. That's the best thing that we can do, is have an open mind. And you may judge. I think judgment in some scenarios is like an instinct that just takes place. You see something that you've seen before that you don't understand, the judgment automatically comes out. I get it. It's happened to me as well. However, we got to figure out how to then take that judgment and go a step further. We have to ask questions. Okay, why don't I like this? No different than what I did with the whole transgender thing. Okay, why don't I like this? Why do I feel yucky? Why, and that's why I watched the entire interview. And what was so funny, the first 10 minutes I'm watching of this transgender interview, I'm frowning like, what on earth, because what I was focused on is the fact that this guy literally looks like a girl. And I'm looking at the eyelashes and how the eyebrows are arched and the hair and all of that, because I'm like, what is wrong with you? And then it hit me, Ace, this is part of the problem. You're focused on all of the things that have nothing to do with the real issue. And then I just backed up. And then, and like I said, at the end of the interview, I had a whole different perspective on that entire space. Again, I'm not out here running around saying everybody need to do that. No, don't get it twisted. What I'm saying is that like if I see one, that hate, that judgment is no longer there because now I have understanding. And that's what humanity needs right now, because we get the same stuff every day, the same stuff every day. You can find an argument about religion, you can find an argument about gender, you can find an argument about race, you can find an argument about politics, you can find, you don't have to go far. They have it all prepackaged for you. Fam, you got to understand the game. And if you latch onto certain things, they will keep feeding you information to support it. They'll keep feeding you. They have mastered it. The new warfare that's being played on the planet, it's not going to be by bullets and bombs and all that. It's going to be by information. What they want to feed you to keep this in a limited state. That's the game. And unless we say, you know what, let's dig a little deeper, we're going to be stuck. What I've started doing is if somebody says something on one side of the issue, I want to hear the opposing side. I want to hear a couple opposing sides. I want to hear somebody that's in the middle that may be neutral. I want to hear it all before I form an opinion and create this thing called a belief. And this is the other thing about when I form a belief, I'm also open to have that belief change as well. I'm not locking myself into nothing other than love. I do believe love should be on the planet. I do believe that we all need to figure out how to work together. Some of the fundamental things to keep humanity going are going to be instilled in me and stay in me until the day I transition. But some of the other things, I'm going to change. There's a very, very good possibility. I changed my entire understanding on transgenders now. I'm not to the point where I'm going to invite one for dinner, but guess what? It's going to end. It could end up that place, end up going in that direction. But at least I've opened the door. And I know I keep talking about this, and you guys might be like, why you keep talking about transgender? I'm just using an example as one of the latest experiences where something that I did not understand, that I literally hated and judged for decades, I've changed my energy on that. And if you really sat down and made a list with yourself, you would find that you have some biases on things that you should probably just get a little bit more understanding on it. And that may not change your perspective, but it will give you some understanding on the other side. Because we're really going to be challenged when these entities start showing up. They're already here. but I'm talking about mainstream. I'm talking about operating in your local restaurants. I'm talking about, like, yes, rubbing shoulders with them. So we have to continue to evolve from this primitive state of mind that we got to keep moving. We got to keep moving, and we got to help each other do it. And when I say help, I'm not talking about help by force. I'm talking about help by just being the example. I made a lot of the changes in my life within me based on some of the other individuals that were living that life. They were living in a way that inspired me, and that's what sparked change. That's what happens. And that's how powerful we are as individuals. They've made us to believe that you're only powerful if you have money, power, class, and status. They've made those the benchmarks to say you're powerful and I'm powerful if we've achieved these things. That's not true. We have power in our example. We have power in the energy we hold. We have power in how we treat one another. That's the true power. And the more we can feed off of that and share that with each other, that's how we gain more of a shift in humanity. And I believe it's happening all across the globe. 2020, I think I read more out of country. Let's just say this. In 2020, I think I interacted more with people outside of the US than ever before. And the thing that I found was we're all the same. We all want the same thing. Same thing. It's mind blowing. But we've been taught, no, you don't want to deal with all these people. They don't look like you. That's what we've been taught. This is kind of cool doing this. I didn't know what to expect because I went through some stuff a couple hours ago and I was like, hey, should you do it? But I said, nope, I'm gonna be committed and I'm gonna do it. And I kind of like doing this because it just allows me to just flow and just be myself. And for those of you that are here with me, I truly, truly appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe. I'm going to be minimum twice a week coming with different things. I have the affirmations with Ace, episode 1 actually taking place next week. And I'm going to continue to just come with this. I have some trainings that are put together. And for those of you that don't know me, I love to talk. I don't know what it is. I love to talk. I have been on this spiritual journey since about 1999. And I had to kind of like reprogram myself. And I'm still going through this journey. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes every day. I made some today, but I have a good heart. And again, my goal is to really unify people and bring people together. I just really made a concrete decision to do this. I don't have a large platform. And I know this is how things start. I don't have 2 million people viewing this, that, and the other, but I've got some quality content. Your time is important to me. And every time I go live or bring something to the video, my goal is for you to take something away to enhance your life. And if you decide to share it with others, do it. So I'm using Haps as the launching pad to broadcast to different channels, Facebook, YouTube, um, and wherever else. So again, I want to thank you guys for being here with me. So I think I'm gonna check out. It's about, oh wow, an hour 20 minutes. Imagine that. The time just flew. So again, subscribe if you like what you heard here. I want to thank all of you for being here with me. Truly, truly appreciate it. I'm going to be back. Going to be back with another format, and we'll do another late night with Ace. The next one is going to be episode 2. Okay. Love and respect, family. And I look forward to talking to all of you soon.
Okay, got everything ready. Got the rental, got it dropped off, going to